say, all right, I want 2 checks a month. I know how many calls I need to make. I know how many people I need to be working with. So that's really what, we try to train on and coach on here. So
I was like, no wonder people are moving to Spokane from California. I think that's false because, if you put your house on the market at the right price, it will sell.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Tap Nation podcast. My name is Connor Phelan. I'm the marketing director here at the Top Agent Team. Today, joined by Kyle Nash, director of onboarding, and Hayden Halsted, who is an agent and team leader here. Let's start this one off with Hayden. You're one of the newer agents here, and you've been killing it lately. Why don't you tell our audience, who you are and what you do?
So my name is Hayden Halstead. I'm an agent here on the Top Agent Team. Got my license back on November 22nd, right before this last Thanksgiving. And it's been a really good year. I've been told not to be humble, so I'm being on house number 20 by the end of this month with $4.5 million sold. So that's pretty exciting.
That's awesome. I know we do some stats on averages that agents kind of do. Usually it's between 6 and 8 homes in their first year. If not, within their first 3 years, that's kind of what they do. So that's crazy. You're more than tripling what most agents are doing. So
right.
That's
good.
awesome. Really good. It's awesome. So I guess, can you talk a little bit about work ethic and what that looks like for you as being an agent? Because I think that's a big misconception is a lot of agents want to get into real estate because they think they're going to have some more free time. They can do it on their, as a sort of a side gig. But if you want to make some money in this business, and also, honestly, if you're in it for money, that is one thing. But if you're in it to help as many clients as you can, that's the other thing. I think we have got it dialed down to such a good system within our team and how we kind of train people that we allow agents to spend a lot more time with their clients and helping them out. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, definitely not being on this team, I would probably be selling. I've had some Sphere stuff, and so it probably would have ended up being a year more of 4 to 6 houses sold, and would have been an okay start. But being able to build my sphere of influence so much faster and have potential of 24 to 30 clients by the end of this year will be, huge for building my career over the long term, because I would like to think of it as a long-term career. So I think that's the number one benefit for that. Work ethic wise, it just comes down to it is hard work, and it is definitely takes hustle and some grind and being putting in a lot of long work hours. If you want to be a producer and you want to be somebody that's putting a lot of effort into the business, if you're somebody that wants to do it as a side hustle, you totally can. If you just know some friends and family that are going to sell, but if you want it to be a career, definitely putting in a lot of hours in those first year to 3 years is going to pay dividends in the end. So
absolutely, we call it pumping the well. You just got to keep pumping, and then all of a sudden it's you'll get the water out of nowhere, and you just got to keep pumping it though. Right. Because if you stop, then you're going to have to put more work in to do it again. All that work you put in for 3 months to get clients and all that stuff ready to go. And if you just go based off of that work, and then you're like, hey, I got 5-6 deals, right. Fantastic. But then now what happens after you're done with those 5-6? You got to do another 3 months of work to get it back.
It's definitely nice having that. The beginning year of a lot of realtors selling those 4 to 6 houses, that's 3 months between each paycheck, but having 24 houses and getting at least an average of 2 paychecks a month makes it feel more like a salary job, like a 40-hour-a-week type job. So consistency keeps your brain in order a little bit.
Well, and that's, I think, a big thing for us too, is keeping it consistent, but also, you talk about getting, on average getting 2 checks a month. That's kind of what most people are they're used to when they work a 40-hour-a-week gig. So, right. For us, if you can kind of break it down numbers wise and say, all right, I want 2 checks a month. I know how many calls I need to make. I know how many people I need to be working with. So that's really what, we try to train on and coach on here. Mm-hmm. So, that's awesome. And you're just going to keep getting better and better. So, yeah.
What month did you start again?
I like to say that I started January 1st, because starting on November 22nd, you go through Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, and no one wants to buy anything. So I didn't sell. My first sale wasn't until March. So everything I've sold has been through March till now.
So when you break it down from that way, from August to March, almost closing on 20.
That's
5 a month.
Almost 4 months.
Yeah. And that's not even counting some of the deals that have maybe fallen out.
Right. I've had a handful fall out too.
So that's awesome. That's crazy. I think in my first year I was like 17, and then the next year it was 23, and then the next year it was like 30. So once you start kind of doing all that, it's like start out at, you're already averaging, going to get up to 30 like for your first year. That's crazy.
How many do you think you're going to close by the end of the year?
I'm shooting for, I mean, if the end of this month will be 20, I'm shooting for 28.
28.
So I'm sure it'll slow down a little bit.
It's a good number.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, let's
Cool.
play a little truth or false.
True or false?
True or false?
Truth or false?
True or false? So I got an article here pulled up from Realtor.com, and it just has 5, things that people are saying that are either true or false. And so I'll ask each of you, or I'll say it to each of you, and you can say true or false, and then explain why you think so.
Okay.
True or false? Here we go. So, number 1, it's a terrible time to sell your home.
False.
False.
Yeah.
Do I
Why?
go first?
Go first, Hayden.
I think that's false because, I mean, if you put your house on the market at the right price, it will sell within 2 to 3 days. And so, I mean, if you have a good reason to sell, you have some equity built up, if you have any equity built up, it's a good time to be a buyer. So if you bought a $250,000 house last year, I guarantee you can buy a $325,000 house this year without even a pay raise. So that's a good reason why to sell your house.
Yeah.
Or buy the same type of home and get a lower monthly cost.
Yeah, whatever it is.
I mean, refinances are huge right now too. One other thing to consider is, maybe have the plan, have a 6-month plan of, I want to sell my home. I know that that's going to be my goal. And maybe go talk to a new builder or something like that, because they're the ones creating the inventory, and that might be the better route to go if you can afford to do that. We'll kind of talk a little bit later. I think we got an article about new construction. So, but yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents on that too. So, next,
Number 2, homes can't be viewed in person.
false. So I'll talk on that one.
Yep.
So Washington, nationwide, the National Association of Realtors. Basically, they tasked every realtor association to kind of abide by their state's legislature. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that's really, we talked about this a little bit last week, but that's really what kind of paused everyone for about 2 to 3 weeks. They kind of held back and said, I don't really know what to do. I don't know if I'm going to be able to buy or even go see a house. And then all of a sudden, state came out, all the realtors just, we were all happy that they finally figured something out. They called us, that they said that we were essential, so that we were able to actually go out in the field, show homes. For the first little while, for the first 2 weeks, I believe, it was, you could only have one person in the house along, and then accompanied by an agent. And then I think a couple weeks after that, then it changed to, you can have 2 people in the house accompanied by an agent. So that really made it difficult, I think, for a lot of people. They had, if there were 2 spouses, one spouse would go in with the agent and then have to go show the other spouse, and then they didn't get to see it at the same time, so you have to have that conversation with them. So yeah, it's difficult.
I mean, legitimate. If you were actually following the rules, it was like on the property too. So I mean, like the wife had to stay in the car while you were showing the property, and then they had to switch positions. So.
Yeah,
America.
Yeah. So that was interesting. I know I started doing some showings right when they did the 2 people allowed in, and I know I had to mask up, glove up, put booties on my feet, and yeah, it was interesting for sure.
Sounds like fun.
Very fun.
Number 3, everyone's fleeing cities for the suburbs.
True. I wouldn't say necessarily suburbs, but I would say it depends on your definition of a city. If it's LA, they're fleeing
New York,
to smaller
Seattle,
places like Spokane. I think, because even today I was just thinking about it. Like, I listened to this guy named Graham Steffen. He's an LA real estate agent on YouTube, and his $1 million duplex would go for like $300,000 here. And I was looking at $1 million mansion on the market that hit the market on Rockwood today, and I was like, yeah, no wonder people are moving to Spokane from California, because especially I had one client that I've been talking to that their tech company is breaking all their leases in Seattle and just telling everybody to just go work wherever they want to work, and they'll see you on Zoom next week.
That's crazy.
So I think people are just moving wherever they feel comfortable now.
Well, we talked a little bit about that last week too, that, we when we're getting those people moving up from those big metropolitan areas, they have so much cash reserves now from their house. They sold $1 million duplex down in California, and now they have $400,000-$500,000 of equity in the house. They come up here and just pay cash for a place, and possibly buy another place on top of that. They buy an investment property, and then they buy another property for themselves. So I'm seeing that happen. I know it's happened to me. I had a client that did that, and I don't know if you've had anything like that, but it's crazy. So
yeah, they're selling their $1 million single family homes over there, coming over here and buying 3 of them.
Yep, there you go.
This one's, these last two are kind of obvious. Like, home prices are plummeting. We know, that's false. Regarding that, this article came out from the Spokesman Review. Record low mortgage rates, low inventory, out-of-area buyers fueling demand for homes in Spokane County as median price exceeds $300,000 in July. So the median house price here now is over $300,000 for the first time in history.
Yeah, that's crazy, because when I started in real estate 6 years ago, I worked for a new home builder, and you could get a brand new home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, under $190 built. And that was 6 years ago. 6 years ago. Now that same floor plan is like probably $260, and it's just crazy. Like, and that's new construction. So
I was like, that's slow in appreciation compared to the resale market.
Right.
So.
And a lot of the time, new builds in those communities, they kind of create their own comps too. So they raise base prices probably every quarter or so, and so they keep track of that. But there's just a lot of that.
Number 5 would be buyers are holding off on home purchases.
I would say it just depends. There's different buyers. Like, there's so many buyers out there that it's like never going to be an issue. Some buyers getting discouraged, and you just sometimes need a break before they get back into it, just because it's a really intense market out there right now for buyers, and they're going to lose out on probably multiple offers before they get before we find them the right house, just because there's only so much you can do when you only have so much cash and reserves and stuff like that, and you just can't offer $50,000 over asking price on every house. But I think for the most part, a lot of people were saying that there was going to be a dip in the market because there weren't going to be buyers because everyone was losing their jobs. But if you observe it, most people who can qualify for a home loan in the first place didn't lose their job. It was people that would probably struggle getting qualified for a home loan to begin with, even before COVID, that were the ones that were impacted by the job hit. So that's kind of why I think the market stayed fairly healthy and strong.
Yeah, and I think another point too on people moving up from, out of city or out of state, they're also moving up and they're kind of snatching those homes up for, and that's probably the most, frustrating thing about this market is, we never really get to hear from the listing agents who, maybe our clients lost out to on their offers. However, we've also worked with the clients, and we know, like, okay, if I have somebody that's coming in from California and they've got a good amount of cash reserves, the chances are of them getting an offer accepted over maybe somebody who's local, getting an FHA loan, not a lot of cash in the bank or anything like that, it's probably a little bit more likely. And again, you want to put yourself in the seller's shoes in that situation. So it's our jobs as agents, and it's something that we do on training to kind of talk about, what are the best ways that we can really defend our clients and help them get offers accepted regardless. Even if they're getting a 0 down loan, VA, that's a big issue right now. It's a disservice to our military and our veterans that they're 0 down. They get to take this benefit of a loan, and they have one of the highest close rates for loan types out there, but they're not getting accepted offers because they're 0 down. And when a seller looks at that and there's 0 cash that they're coming in with, they look at that and say, well, I'd rather just go with a 20% conventional. So it's frustrating, and so we have to kind of do our job to really, be advocates for our clients in this market. So, yeah.
Have you guys noticed any more people buying new construction homes at all?
I haven't had any of my clients do that. I feel like a lot of times if people are going that route, most likely they're just going to the new construction website and then just going straight to them for the most part. I know our office has had a handful of new construction people, but I haven't had anybody go that route.
What do you think the pros and cons of buying new construction are?
Honestly, new construction, the biggest thing is, so I used to work for a home builder, and one of the main points that they always kind of mention that we should talk about when we have a client kind of come in is you got to take into consideration when you buy a house that's 40, 50 years old, you're buying a house that was built 40, 50 years ago, that the way it was built is different than the way it's built now. Now, some would argue that maybe a house 100 years ago actually might have been built a little bit sturdier, maybe joists and stuff probably closer together, just more support in the structure of the house, and it's not anything built with like plastic in it too. So there's a lot of. I had a firefighter buddy of mine tell me that he actually went into a new house fire in a new construction house, and basically everything just kind of turned to like a plastic kind of sludge because there's so much plastic in a lot of the materials that are getting used in new construction. And it's crazy. And I never even thought of that. But the other benefit is there's a lot of things that you don't have to do for 15 to 20 years to a brand new house. I mean, you want to buy it and then say, okay, I just want to live in a place. I don't want to have to work on it. That's kind of the best route to go. So my pro for buying new is, yes, you're going to, I guess a con is it's going to cost a little bit more, just because generally, you're paying also on top of that, you're paying labor costs right now. There's builders that are working on the houses right now. There's companies that need to get paid. Whereas on a resale, that's already been paid when it was first built. So you don't really have to worry about that kind of upfront cost. So it's convenience, furnace, roof, all those big ticket items you don't have to spend a ton of money on in your first 15 to 20 years, but you may be out of that house in 15 to 20 years. So you don't have to do anything, which is really a benefit. So
that's kind of why there's a big boom in Airway Heights on home sales right now, is because they were all built about 2005 to 2008 over there, and so now there's a lot of homes going for sale that are right at that 15-year-old mark, and so they're just getting out because they don't want to deal with any of the issues that are arising
in 3 years.
in 3 years, and so they just sell now, give the buyers a home warranty, and then they're going to go find something else that'll work better for them. So.
Yeah, and the nice thing though is even when you're building with new construction. Because you're going to get a new furnace, you're going to get new HVAC, all that good stuff. I mean, that stuff is going to last longer than it did, even 20 years ago. A new furnace now may last 25 years, whereas a furnace that you might have bought a house 5 years ago, that one may have only lasted 15 or so. So the difference is they're just better technologies getting input into these homes. So I think I didn't really put a pros or cons list. I think there's just there's a lot of stuff to consider when buying new construction. And I think, if that's the route you want to go, I think when we sit down with clients and we want to talk about, what their motivation is, why they want to be in a house, what type of house do they want to be in, that's kind of where we'll come in and say, I think new construction might be the best route for you to go, just based out of convenience, based off of, some people say they're handy and they want to do some work, and then they get into a house and all of a sudden it's, they can't do any of it. And then we say, well, maybe new construction might be the route that you want to go. So I think that's where you get a good agent to work for you, again, be an advocate for you and help you out with that decision. Because in this market, we're not just agents, we're therapists. I mean, a lot of the time when you're losing out on offers, we have to kind of, play that role for you guys. And that's kind of what we're here for. So.
Yeah. Well, obviously our biggest issue is inventory right now. And so we need more people to build houses so there's more to choose from. I think, honestly, that's one of the best investments investors can start doing right now is looking at just going and buying some land somewhere and developing it and just providing some more space to live in around Spokane, because that's what we truly just do need right now. So,
Yeah, I probably think we'd all be out of a job if we didn't mention this. Top lending team.
Top lending team.
What are we doing now, Kyle?
Yeah, so we do have an in-house lending team now. So we've got a couple of loan officers with us. So we're going to be starting to offer that for clients, and when they come in, they can meet with us, and we'll set up some appointments and get them pre-approved on the spot right there. And yeah, that'll be good. I think it's always a benefit when we meet with clients and kind of have a lender right there with us, because I think it's nice to have an answer right there as opposed to, send you home and say, hey, can you do this pre-approval application? And then we follow up with you the next day, and then the application's not done. It's kind of easy to just get it done.
What I'm excited about is just being able to put someone on hold, connect them with a lender over a conference call, and be able to do that. I think that's going to be huge for us. So but yeah, hopefully we'll get those lenders on the podcast.
Yep. Maybe next week.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And we're taking care of people on all fronts here now.
Yep.
Brings me to one more question about new construction. How does somebody get approved for a new construction loan? Like, say I wanted to build a house on a lot. How would I go about getting that loan? Are there any differences between, getting a loan on a house that's actually built or a loan that's going to be built? Is there a difference?
Yeah, so there's actually two different types. There's multiple different types of new construction and new builds that you can do. Generally, the easiest thing to do is to go find communities that already exist, and then they're generally going to have a lot, and they sell them as a package deal. So they've already bought the land, so they're not going to sell the land back to you as a lot. They're going to include that in the overall build price. And so what they're going to do is say, if you can get approved for a $300,000 house, then you can get approved for this. So, but what a lot of the time, what they'll want is a deposit up front. So they're going to want, X percent of whatever the purchase price is as a non-refundable deposit, so that you have skin in the game, so you wouldn't just walk away. Right. If you wanted to build a house and then all of a sudden you're the builder, and then you start building on a house and then your buyer walked out, what would you think? You'd be pretty frustrated.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. I would have lost money, right?
Exactly. So they ask for those kind of deposits up front. Honestly, the best situation is if there is any sort of inventory homes available in a construction or in a new build community. Those are going to be the best bets for you because they're already built. They generally give you a little bit better of a deal on them because that was something that somebody didn't actually choose all of the custom features inside of it. They actually had somebody that works on that community. They picked everything out for the house. And so it's not necessarily a custom build. Whereas you could actually go into a community, say, I want to build a house on that lot and I want this floor plan built on there. You can do that. Again, you may need to have more money up front. So getting an FHA loan on a house like that, I've seen it happen. However, sometimes they charge a little bit more than, it could be 5% that they want down for the deposit to build that house. So just some things to consider. There's some extra costs in there, and always just kind of do a little bit of research. I mean, I know quite a bit of builders in town. I know a lot of what their costs are. Hayden, I'm sure you've dealt with some of the newer construction. So that's just something I would suggest is kind of do your research or have one of us kind of look for it for you. But yeah, there's a lot. And then you can work with a custom builder and find, acreage out somewhere else, but then you'd be responsible for bringing in infrastructure. So you want to get water, sewer, electric, all of that stuff to the property. So that's a little bit different of a process. So most banks have come up with ways to fund a lot of this stuff. So really, the first step is honestly just getting pre-approved. So go to a lender and ask them like, hey, this is kind of the loan that I'm looking to do. This is the type of purchase I'm looking to do. What kind of products do you offer? And then they'll kind of tell you where to go from there.
So do you go to the builder first and say, hey, I got a lot. I want to build this home, and they give you the price of the home and what it would cost them to build, and you take that to the bank and say, this is what I want. I need a loan for this much.
Yeah, that's one way. So there's that way, which again, that may be different on different types of builders. A lot of the builders in Spokane, what they're going to do is kind of what Hayden was talking about is if you're an investor, try to find some land and get it developed. So if you find 10 acres of land, you could probably fit maybe 20 homes on something like that to bring in a road and build 20 homes on, 5,000 to 6,500 square foot lots. You could probably fit about 20 homes in there. So a lot of developers or a lot of investors are looking for that kind of stuff so that they hire a developer to come in, grade out the land, bring in infrastructure. That's different than what I think you're suggesting, or what you're asking is you want to say you owned your own land, then you would go to a builder and say, hey, will you build this floor plan on my land? So there's other ways to do it. Again, I think the first step is talk to a lender, because generally they're going to have connections to some other builders as well, and talk to an agent, because we're also going to know kind of how to tailor that specific, package to what you're wanting to do.
Got it.
So, got it.
Well, that's all I got today. You guys got anything to add on to the shindig?
Yeah, we'll talk about some numbers real quick. We'll kind of end it with that. But this week, so we had, or last week, we actually had 2,107 active listings. So we went bumped up about 1% this week to 2,131. So just a little bit of a bump up there. And then new listings, we actually dropped about 1.5% that went live last week. And then pending, we actually dropped about 3.5%. So basically, what I'm seeing there is there's still some homes that are on the market that may not have just gone under contract from the weekend to now. They may still be reviewing offers. It's something pretty common that we see is goes live on a Thursday or Friday, and then all of a sudden they say we're going to review offers Monday or Tuesday, and then make a decision Tuesday to Wednesday, and then it'll actually show on the MLS that it's under contract or pending. And then closed, we actually went up about 2%. So a lot of those pending deals, again, it just kind of comes in waves where some of the pending deals, if that number's down, but then all of a sudden the closed number's up, then we kind of just see, okay, less pending, more closed, because that makes sense, more closed deals. So yeah, that's all I got on the numbers. And then do you have anything to add on that? No?
No, I'm good.
Cool. All right.
We'll
When's
see
our
you
next
week.
giveaway?
Our next giveaway. Mark said next month. I don't know
September.
don't know what it's going to be, but
Yep. Stay tuned for that. We'll announce it.
we're going to cool off, and come September, we're going to give something away.
September. Wake me up when September ends.
Where are we going after this, Kyle?
I forgot to mention cheeseburger night. The Union, $5. $5. We're hoping to host a podcast from the Union's patio one of these nights, but we'll see how that works out. But yeah, $5. Don't forget. I think next week we'll do a giveaway for a $50 gift card to the Union. So we'll have comments and likes, and we'll pick a random commenter. So yeah,
Get her done.
sweet. Thanks, guys.
See you next week.